Welcome to What the Mom podcast. You are listening to Doulas Petra
and Jacqueline.
Motherhood can be isolating and hard.
We are two doulas that want to provide a place that's safe to talk about all things mom.
From pregnancy to birth to postpartum to parenting.
Join us as we have real conversations about real life. Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
So nice to be here again. We're together, so cheers.
And I'm Petra.
And I'm Jacqueline. And we're excited to share with you guys today about postpartum recovery.
Yes, all about what to expect after you have that baby. Mm-hmm. Because it's easy to do all of this preparation for the actual birth. Forget it's not really over yet.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I know I didn't really educate myself, so that was kind of
it can be a little bit of a shocker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the first things to remember after you have a baby is you will be bleeding.
Absolutely.
And the duration of that bleeding can vary. They say average is 6 weeks. It's usually longer when it's your first baby too.
Yeah.
And I mean, you said your third baby was like a week.
It was so easy.
It was fast.
After my labor, I was like, yeah, I deserve that for sure. It was like a light period for a week.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
And I felt like every baby I had kind of got lighter and lighter too. Like it was shorter time.
Yeah.
But we wanted to share what to expect with that postpartum bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
So we've recommended this in other podcasts before too, but buy adult diapers.
Absolutely.
It saves you a lot of hassle, and then get those maternity pads to put inside the diapers.
So then the diapers last you longer.
Yeah. And especially the first few days when it's a little bit heavier.
Absolutely.
It can collect more.
Absolutely.
There's no shame. You rock those diapers. Not like you're having sex anyways.
Exactly.
So this postpartum bleeding, it actually has a name. It's called lochia. So
I didn't actually know that it was called that. Like I didn't know that. I thought it was like you said it's like lochia or something. So anyways, I pronounced it
maybe
wrong.
Some people pronounce it different.
Maybe, yeah.
Just like kombucha, kombucha.
Yeah, totally.
You know, right? Potato.
That's true.
Unless I actually don't know anyone who says potato, but
that is true.
I'm sure it's out there. Otherwise, that wouldn't be a saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's 3 stages of this lochia. The first stage is what happens in the very beginning for the first 3 to 4-ish days usually.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be dark or bright red blood.
Yeah.
Small clots are very normal,
mm-hmm.
but small. So not like huge. Like if it was the size of your fist and it hurts coming out, that's something you need to talk to your healthcare provider about.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Absolutely.
But I think we're just trying to remember, and we're pretty sure it's about the size of a loonie.
I think so. Yeah.
But check with your healthcare provider before you have your baby, just to make sure. If there's a certain size that they say that you need to contact them for.
Yeah.
But blood clots can be normal at this point.
And some can be bigger. I have heard my midwife say. It's just they don't want it to be too much.
Yeah, exactly. This will feel like a heavy period in terms of the flow and how much is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It may even be accompanied by a mild period like cramping. That's normal.
Absolutely.
It's a little bit messier. But, I mean, birth was messy too, so.
Yeah, totally.
Take it or leave it, right?
This tones it down a little bit, actually.
Yeah, it does help. The second stage is called lochia serosa. The blood now has started to slow down a little bit. It's a pinkish brown discharge, so it's more watery with only a little bit of blood in it now.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a moderate flow.
Yeah.
There's no clotting, or if there is, it's very little now at this point.
Very little, yeah.
This could be anywhere from 4 to 12 days after baby now. Then we have the third stage, the last one, lochia alba. This one is when it's no longer bleeding. It's just discharge. It's yellowish white discharge. There should not be any clots now at this point. This is like a very, very light flow, or even more so like spotting usually for most people.
Yeah.
And this could be anywhere from 12 days to 6 weeks postpartum. So it's not, I mean, there's not a certain number of how long it happens, but that's kind of what to expect for your bleeding afterwards. And again, if you have any concerns or questions, talk to your healthcare provider, right?
Absolutely. Because you just don't want to have something too much and then not know and then have a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And everyone's so different, right? Like, I mean, I had definitely like the 6-week postpartum bleeding with my son. And I'm pretty sure I did with my daughter too.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the same. But then when I had my last, I was like, what is this? This is crazy. I was like, is this normal? And my midwife just said, well, after your labor, it just seems like it would be fair. So I agreed with that. So, yeah.
It varies. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something else that usually happens is you're often very sore.
Normal.
No matter what type, whether it's a vaginal or a C-section, you will be sore.
In different ways. Yeah.
So we'll first maybe go over the vaginal birth, and then we'll talk about a C-section birth.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
So if you had a vaginal birth, what are some recommendations you have to help with that vaginal?
Oh my goodness.
Soreness?
I never did padsicles, but I know a lot of people do, and they say they're amazing.
I did those. They helped a lot.
Absolutely.
Especially if you tore and had to get stitches, then it's very, very recommended.
Absolutely, because it's going to be sore. You're not used to having like a football size thing come out of there.
Yeah. And just in case anyone doesn't know what padsicule is, it's literally it's just a pad that you put some stuff on. Yeah. You can find recipes online. I just used some witch hazel with aloe vera gel, and
it was very soothing.
We've talked about this in other episodes, and I said I added a few drops of lavender essential oil.
Yeah.
And then you fart flowers. I mean, who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, really. You don't want to fart anything else. And you're losing a lot of blood, so it doesn't smell lovely.
Yeah. So you put this solution that you created onto your pad, and you freeze it. I put it in a bowl, so it had that rounded shape already, and then put some tin foil between the pads so they didn't stick.
Yeah.
Then I just take it out, put it in my diaper. That was a good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
And then, so like ice packs, that's the same thing. Rinse with warm water. They'll give you a peri bottle. So the trick is to fill it up with hot water and then just like spray it as you're peeing. It really takes the sting away.
Yeah.
I remember how horrible it was. I was like crying because as first baby, you don't know what to expect. And of course it's sore.
Mm-hmm.
But that bottle was a lifesaver. Absolutely amazing. It feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
And just soothing and like just comforting when you're on the toilet and you really don't want to be.
It also can
it's
help.
Warm.
Yeah.
So like
exactly.
You're not like freezing on the toilet either.
Yeah.
It is nice.
It can help clean off some of that blood in the beginning when it's thicker too.
Absolutely.
Which kind of grosses me out a little, even though it's my own.
It is no fun.
So I use the bottle to just spray it off, and we're good.
Absolutely. It helps so much. And then
I bought extra this time too with my last baby.
Did you use?
I used them.
Yeah.
And I had one in each washroom.
Oh, yeah.
That way, no matter where I went, I didn't have to think about bringing it with me.
You knew where it was.
I just knew I had one in the washroom.
You just didn't have it in your pocket or,
Yeah. I think my husband would have laughed at me too much.
Right next to you. Just got my water bottle. I'm going to take it with me.
A special water bottle.
Special water bottle.
Don't drink from this one.
Don't drink from that. But it's all jokes aside, it is amazing.
It is.
Would not do it without it.
Yeah, and it's usually provided for you by most healthcare providers.
Yeah. I only experienced midwives, and they always had them, but I don't know. I'm sure doctors do too.
They do in the hospital.
Silly if they wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. And then do you want to talk about avoiding constipation?
Something else too
Or you want to
is that
talk about-
peri-bath.
Oh, yes.
I didn't do this with all of them, but I did do it with my third and fourth.
Yeah.
I don't know if you tried them. It's basically,
No, I don't
just,
think
you
so.
can buy special, they call them, market them peri-baths
Oh.
that you put on your toilet.
Oh.
I didn't do that though.
Oh, I didn't use
I
that.
just sat in the tub and it's just really shallow.
Oh.
It's like a very shallow, so it just covers the
Just
perineum area.
Just like soothing.
Yeah, and then you can add, I think you gave me some herbs.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't use that tincture stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just a few different herbs that you can add,
Mhm.
like some rose petals and a few different things like that.
Yeah.
That are just mixed together. You put it in the water, and they're all things that are healing and soothing.
They have healing purposes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you just sit in that for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes.
Like a sitz bath. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah,
Sitz bath.
sitz bath. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the sitz bath. So it's just like shallow in the tub. And then you just rinse off and get out after.
Yeah.
It can be very soothing as well for some people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too.
And then avoiding constipation helps a lot too.
Eating lots of fiber
Mm-hmm.
can really help because it will feel like, let's talk about it, hemorrhoids. They suck, but they're normal because of all the pressure down there. And sometimes they don't go away, even after birth.
Yeah.
They just don't go away and they just pop up whenever they want to. It's great.
I never
Things
experienced
about motherhood.
It's true. I never experienced hemorrhoids, but I do know that they're very
You're
common.
freaking lucky, man. You are so lucky. They're awful. They are not fun.
So that is more likely to happen as well when you're constipated.
Oh my goodness.
So getting your fruits and veggies
Yeah.
in is your best bet
Yeah.
because that's where you're going to get your fiber from.
Absolutely.
And
Trying to have a well-balanced diet.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
not pushing too hard. So like kind of just let it come out. Don't sit there and push and strain. Yeah. And try to get it out that way because
Just wait till it comes out.
that's when you're going to get hemorrhoids.
Absolutely. And if you absolutely have to take something because like you're just in pain, just like an easy like laxative, like just to take a little bit,
exactly.
I would recommend that over suppositories any day. They are not fun. So even just something to get things moving. But absolutely another thing, I didn't know this, but blackstrap molasses, it actually is amazing. I thought I was in labor and my midwife's like, well, when did you go to the bathroom last? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, let's just go get you some blackstrap molasses. So I did. And I'm not kidding. I took a tablespoon of it and I went to the bathroom within like the hour.
Wow.
And it is way healthier for you as well. So do
It's
that
high in iron as well.
Yes, it's very high in iron. So if you have low iron, that's a really great way to boost it.
That's true.
And it's more natural.
Yeah.
So
there's also a tea you can buy that's called Smooth Move. It's a mixture of a few different things.
She told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can look that up online.
Yeah.
And something I used with my first years ago now was ground flax seeds mixed in with kefir, however you want to pronounce it.
Kefir or whatever. Yeah.
If you have like the thicker stuff, that's more like
Kefir.
the yogurt.
Yeah.
Everyone calls it something different.
Yeah, totally.
You have like the thicker stuff that's more like the yogurt consistency. And then you add in ground flax seeds.
Oh yeah.
And you eat that. You can add a little bit of maple syrup
or
or something if you need to sweeten it. But eating that, it will make you go.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
So that's awesome too.
So those are a few different natural ways if you don't want to take the laxatives. But in the hospital, that's usually what they'll offer you or recommend that you take when you go home. It's just a laxative.
Absolutely. And there's some more gentle ones. You don't have to do like, you know, really hard on your body kind of thing. There's lots of options. So definitely just look up natural options to have and you'll find them. They'll be on Google, or you can reach out to us,
or on DuckDuckGo.
On so many different places. Exactly. So there's so many things. You want to talk about tender breasts?
Yes. So
Ooh,
your milk does not come in immediately because you have the colostrum first.
Yeah.
But when your milk does come in, oh, it can get very sore.
Very sore.
You're trying to breastfeed, baby's trying to latch, you're trying to figure that out
already.
You're going to be sore.
Yeah.
And then you get engorged breasts that are like
huge.
The only way to describe it is it feels like a rock.
It feels
like it's hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it hurts. And then baby trying to latch.
Yeah.
On top of that, if you're breastfeeding, that really hurts.
Yeah.
And if you're not breastfeeding, they're still going to get engorged because your body's still going to produce the milk at first.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So either way, you're going to experience that painfulness.
So a really good way to help is go in the hot shower and just like shower yourself, and it will relieve the tension and the hardness. It like kind of just like makes it so that it comes out and it's not as like hard and painful.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's what I did.
Yeah. And if you are too engorged, baby will often not actually latch. So you might need to hand express a little bit out first. So if you want to save it, you can do this right into a bottle, a bowl, some kind of container. If you don't care, then just express it into the sink
or if you're in the shower.
Yeah. And just gently squeeze with your hand to express it out.
Absolutely.
Just enough to relieve a little bit of the pressure, and then babies
can latch
without
and
hurting.
Not choking themselves also.
And it won't hurt you as much either.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say that that can be an issue for sure.
Mm-hmm. Hair loss is something else that a lot of women experience. Did you ever experience hair loss after babies?
Yeah, I did. After my first, I did not have much hair at all. And that's the thing, if you have lots of hair and you lose it, and usually if you're like combing your hair, you'll like see it come out. But like that's the hair that you never lost during like normal times of losing your hair, because your hair is more luscious and stuff. But then when it comes out, it looks like it can be like really worrisome. Doesn't mean you're going to go bald. But
even though it feels like it.
And then you just really have to just deal with it. You can find shampoos and stuff, and
it does stop on its own.
It does, yeah.
I don't know if there's a certain time, but usually around like that 6-week checkup, it's either slowing down or has stopped.
Yeah, but it's super normal. But if it keeps happening, then you could have like thyroid issues. And maybe look into that as well, because that can be a huge thing.
Having a good B complex vitamin in your diet too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Obviously best is get this through natural foods, but if you can't, you can look for one. Because biotin helps with hair growth, which is a B vitamin. B6 maybe? I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
I remember having so much hair loss after my second because I had postpartum depression too.
Oh, that doesn't help.
That I would be in the shower washing my hair and I would have clumps, like hairballs. Yeah. I have really thick hair at least. But I remember sitting there crying, looking at this clump of hair. Like I collected all on the wall because I had so much I didn't know what to do with it. And then after the shower, I just like take it off the wall to throw it out. And I had handfuls of hair.
My hair, I'm gonna be bald.
It was awful. I cried so much. But then I ended up learning that can be normal. It usually means that you're missing something in your diet, though, if you have too much hair loss.
Absolutely.
So at that point, I was dealing with other stuff.
Yeah. So
which is why I had more, but
you weren't thinking about your diet as much going through your postpartum depression. Nobody would, right? So
this fourth baby, I only had a little bit of hair loss. It was way better.
You were just like, you didn't have any postpartum, like at all, depression.
No.
Right?
It was a lot better this time.
Yeah. Like, I don't think you said anything. It's like, I've never experienced that. Like, but you're overwhelmed, and that can be normal, like, especially, having other kids and needing to do this and that, right? Like, it's normal. But
Well, they call it the baby blues, right? The first, in that first 6 weeks, I think, maybe.
yeah.
They say it's normal to have moments of being sad, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I'm a good enough mom. Because
Your hormones are literally
hormones, yeah.
everywhere. Do you know what I heard? That after you have a baby, is this true? That it takes like up to 3 years to go back to normal? Like your
Yes,
hormones?
I think Sarah talked with us about that in one of our other episodes.
Okay, that's where we
about
heard
nutrition,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said. And I was like, what? That is insane.
And it accumulates if you have baby after baby.
And if you don't take that time to heal completely before you have those babies back to back, it takes a lot out of you. So we have to have more grace for ourselves.
That's true.
But
you also do need to be aware of postpartum mood disorders.
Yeah.
So that you can recognize them if you do have one.
And that it's okay. You're not a bad mom.
The statistics are 1 in 6 women, 1 in 4.
Wow.
1 in 4 women will experience, a postpartum mood disorder of some kind. So that could be postpartum depression, which is the most talked about one. Postpartum anxiety, postpartum psychosis can even happen.
Wow.
Postpartum OCD even is a thing. There's a lot of different things that can happen. So just being aware of noticing how you're feeling, maybe talking with people in your life, your spouse, your friends, your other family, just making sure they keep an eye on you afterwards. Yeah. Making sure that you're taking care of yourself after is definitely very important.
Yeah.
For sure.
Ask for help if you need it.
Yeah. Because I didn't know I had postpartum depression until I think the baby was already 6 months old. And I still was having all these issues.
Wow.
And I was actually taking my doula course because I signed up. And I was learning about postpartum mood disorders. And I was like, I have that. I have that. Oh my goodness. I'm dealing with this. Everything makes sense now. I'm not a horrible mom. It's not that I don't love this baby as much as I loved my first. Like, none of that was true. I was struggling.
Just struggling with it. Yeah.
But then I took steps to get over it and get through that point in my life. And I did. After it took a really rough turn. But
But it's normal. Yeah. And we don't,
And I had 4 kids, and one of them I had that. So I guess that's the statistics right there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Literally,
that's what it is. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is not talked about enough, but there's lots of help.
There is, yeah.
Just don't be in silence and make sure you reach out, because
yes, exactly.
It'll get better.
After pains is something else people don't always know about.
Oh, dear Lord. That's horrible. Especially the third one. I can't imagine what you went through this last one, being a fourth. I felt like I was literally in labor again.
We have touched on this
Screaming.
Other podcasts.
Yes. Watch our other one. Which one was that? We're talking about labor and what to expect after labor, were we not? Probably. It sounds about right.
Maybe the one about natural
birth.
Natural pain. I can't remember what we talked about.
I'd have to look back. But just know that that's super normal, you guys, and it will happen, and it just gets worse after your first. It gets worse second, third. Yeah.
So basically what's happening is after you've had the baby, your uterus has grown so much to house this baby. Your baby's gone. Yeah. Now it needs to shrink back to its original size. And to do that, it needs to contract and squeeze back to that size.
And it sucks.
Yeah. And it's a little bit painful. So your first baby, you might not notice it very much.
I did not.
Some women still will feel it.
Did you?
I didn't really very much, no.
I don't think I noticed it at all.
But I have heard some women say that they do. But then
I have heard that too.
every baby after that, you usually feel it a little bit more.
I mean, actually, I did experience something, but that's because I hemorrhaged really bad, and they had to give me a shot, right? So
I've heard
your
that
body contracts, obviously, because it's stopping the bleeding.
Yeah.
So, like,
I've
I guess I
also
had.
heard that if you hemorrhage, the after pains are not as bad though, because your body has already been doing that.
Yeah.
Contracting during that.
True. Yeah. And sometimes your bleeding's not as bad because when they're pushing on your stomach, the clots are coming out. I remember when they were doing that. And clots, huge clots.
Uterine massage my butt. Don't call it that. It's not a massage.
Huge clots like this, the size of my freaking head, were coming out. And he's like, oh my God, is my wife going to die?
So they usually offer you pain medication for the after pains.
Yeah, I remember even with Lorelai, she was giving me like Tylenol and Advil. I'm like, what is this for? And then she's like, just take it. And I'm like, okay. So I did. And then she's like, yeah, it's for your after pains. I was like, oh, yeah. And she's like, it's going to be worse this time. Yeah. Sweet.
And then I tried to do the natural method. I used homeopathic.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Medicine. I did arnica pellets.
And how did it help? Did you feel like it did? Did you ever pop a Tylenol?
No.
Wow, this woman.
But I mean,
who are you?
I'm
like,
different when it comes to pain.
She's not normal.
I'm not the average person.
She's not the average person. I saw this lady in labor. It's a sight to see. It's like, where are we? Like, this is not a labor.
The arnica pellets, they did help. They didn't fully eliminate the pain,
but they did help. It was manageable. It wasn't
So,
yeah. So you never know.
They say a little bit different topic, but I was just thinking, when you give birth, they say the average person will lose about 13 pounds, like between the baby, the amniotic fluid, the placenta, like everything. Around 13 pounds, which means you just gained, for like a normal BMI, 25 to 35 pounds, you only lost 13 pounds. You're going to still have weight on you.
Yeah, of course you will.
So if this is your first baby, expect that you are going to still look 6 months pregnant.
Yeah.
You are not going to fit your pre-pregnancy pants yet.
No.
Not immediately.
No. Some people, it depends.
Occasionally you will.
There are people that are just like, what is going on here?
Yeah. But on average, I would say just wear something that's stretchy so that it doesn't matter. Something comfortable, or a long dress so you don't even need pants.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of year. And
I definitely needed pants this time. It was like minus 35. It was the coldest.
Well, it was like Christmas time.
It was like so cold. It was like minus 35.
Yeah.
And we never did the hospital drive, right? Like, we always had the kids at home. So like Keith was so nervous. Like, he's like, car, don't break down because we have a newborn baby.
Yeah.
Oh man, he was stressed out. Yeah, it was funny.
So what about C-section? Either of us have never experienced the C-section.
No, I have not.
Recovery, but we have read about what people experience with that. We've heard.
I have friends, lots
from
of friends,
other people,
sister-in-laws as well.
So we'll just touch a few of those points, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, you have an incision. It's a cut that is in your lower belly and uterus, and it's not going to feel great. I think they have to go through like 7 layers of skin. Like, it's crazy to get to your precious little baby. So all you C-section mamas are my hero. I don't know how you do it, but I personally don't think I could handle it.
The recovery is a little bit different because of that.
It is a lot different. It takes up to 6 weeks. They say it could be longer for other people, depending. It depends, right? But they say no heavy lifting, no driving for 6 weeks. You're not supposed to lift anything more than your baby, really. And they say that because of hemorrhaging and ripping your stitches and stuff.
Which is the last thing you want.
which is the last thing. So please, C-section mamas, rest. You need it. Just like vaginal births do, C-sections, you really do need to. Yeah, like, and you're going to experience vaginal bleeding as well. Some don't experience it as much, but some still do up to 6 weeks, and that's super normal. And yeah, just having, those diapers and pads to go inside. It's really important to take it easy and not worry about housework, that sort of stuff, because it can wait. It's going to be there, and you got to reach out for help, because I think that's what a lot of women don't do, is they don't reach out, and then they're just overwhelmed, or they try to do something on their own, and it can lead to some serious things. So,
and actually, if you're doing too much too soon, no matter what type of birth you had, your bleeding could last longer.
Yeah.
So I know I had this with one of mine, and I know I've talked to other women as well, who your bleeding is like pretty much done. It's gone. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. It's ended. Awesome. Now I can do more. You get up, you start, doing more cleaning. You start playing with older children. You start saying, oh, I'm going to go for walks. And then it starts up again. It's like, what? I thought I was done. Well, it's because you weren't fully done.
You weren't fully done, and your
body's telling you, slow down, wait.
You delayed the process, essentially. Yeah. That's what you did.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, call on your husbands, your spouses, just be like, hey, I need some help. It's just important. Also, like, I know people hear this all the time, but sleep when your baby sleeps. That is like precious time. And yeah, like, that's what you need to recover and heal, is you need rest, and all about having a good diet. You don't want to deal with constipation, because that would be extremely painful. I've heard a lot of women say it's super painful, because there's your incision, and then you're putting pressure down there. It's awful. So absolutely make sure that you guys have a well-balanced diet. Yeah.
And you're able to go for walks. That helps a lot too, though.
Go for walks. Absolutely.
That's the first form of exercise anyone should do, is just slowly working your way back in, going for walks.
Yeah.
Short walks at first, then you can increase it.
Yeah.
But no like real exercising until
you get the okay.
They say your healthcare provider will say around 6 weeks usually, but like 100% not until your bleeding is done.
Yeah, because you'll just prolong it.
Yeah.
And they actually say that walking will actually boost your blood flow. So it's super healthy to walk. But if your body's saying stop and take it easy, then definitely listen to your body.
You also don't want to walk too soon, like too long though, because that can also lead to prolapse.
Yeah, and that's awful.
And that's a whole other topic, something else that you don't want as well.
We will do an episode on that for sure.
We'll have to do a whole episode on that one.
Yeah, because that is a really big thing. And yeah, when you do things too quickly, you can cause yourself to have that. And it is not fun, from what I've heard. I feel very blessed I didn't have to deal with that, but I know other people who have, and it's just not fun.
Yeah.
Another common thing is, when can you have sex? The biggest thing is, usually they say 6 weeks, unless your healthcare provider says no. But usually it's totally fine.
It's the same for vaginal birth or C-section. They say, I think, for both of them.
Yeah, just listen to your body.
Weeks. Yeah.
It's okay if you're not ready to.
And if you need to wait a little bit longer, then wait.
Absolutely. Wait until it feels like
we'll probably have to do a whole episode on sex after baby too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's things
there's
You never know how
Mhm.
serious it really could be. And it's just important to listen to your body and know the risks.
It's true.
So,
And whether you have a midwife or a doctor, you will have a 6-week checkup just to make sure everything's going well, make sure that you're healing well.
yeah.
You'll get the okay for different things. Any questions you have, you'll be able to have answered.
Yeah.
Your healthcare provider will, it's a really like non-stress appointment. They just check and they'll just double check about birth control because yes, you can possibly get pregnant pretty quickly again. So if that's something that you don't want, you're going to have to think about that as well.
Definitely.
A lot of times if people are breastfeeding, their periods will wait a little while before returning, but that's not always the case.
That's not always the case.
And on rare occasions, you'll also ovulate before you even get your first period. So you never know.
And you could get pregnant after your baby's a month old or a couple weeks. You just never know. So if that's something you don't want, then definitely looking into
It's
that.
something that you need to look into as well. And your healthcare provider will just talk about this with you too.
Absolutely. And if you have a midwife, a lot of midwives after they'll offer a what do you call it? A pap test if you want.
I think the doctors maybe do too.
I think they do. I've never experienced it. I've always had midwives, but they always offer it. So
yeah,
something to know as well.
Yeah. So I think that covers pretty much everything to expect postpartum right after having a baby.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, let us know.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
See you later.